In a world full of noise, some stories go unheard. Stories buried beneath red tape, sealed files, and the silence of small towns that would rather forget. Welcome to a place where the forgotten are remembered, where justice is questioned, and the truth is never taken at face value. This is where we pull back the curtain on real stories of betrayal, corruption, and the lives left shattered in their wake. If you're drawn to the cases that don't make sense, the ones with more questions than answers, the ones that keep you thinking long after the video ends, then you're in the right place. Every week, we bring you deeply researched true crime stories that go beyond the headlines. We focus on emotional truths, shocking twists, and the haunting realities behind each victim's name. So if that sounds like your kind of storytelling, subscribe now. Because these stories deserve to be told. And Andrew Sadek's? His might be one of the most chilling of all. A 20-year-old student, a mysterious disappearance, and a body found with a backpack full of rocks. This is the story of how the system turned a college kid into a confidential informant, and may have gotten him killed. The Midwest has seen its fair share of unsettling mysteries. From oil boom towns that rose and fell faster than the price of crude, to remote farmhouses where secrets are buried deeper than the frost line. North Dakota holds more than just wheat and wind. Here's a chilling detail you probably didn't know. The entire state has fewer people than the city of San Francisco. Yet, North Dakota has twice as many unsolved disappearances per capita. So what does that tell you? About its law enforcement? About the people meant to protect and serve? Because this isn't just a story about a missing student. It's about coercion. It's about silence. It's about how a young man, Andrew Sadek, became a pawn in a system that failed him. And that failure cost him his life. It was on May 1st, 2014, when Andrew Sadek, a 20-year-old electrical student, was last seen alive. Captured on dorm surveillance, he's seen walking out of Nordgard Hall, wearing a black backpack and a Tampa Bay Buccaneers hoodie. No panic. No hesitation. Just gone. His roommate, Drew Kugal, woke up later that morning and noticed something odd. Andrew's bed hadn't been slept in. Still, no one panicked. Andrew had a girlfriend in town. Maybe he stayed with her. But by evening, he missed all his classes. He didn't return any texts. And his phone was turned off. That's when the worry set in. By the next day, campus police were notified. Surveillance reviewed. A search began. But what no one realized, not his friends, not even his family, was that Andrew was living a double life. One that had already caught the attention of the police. And not in the way you'd think. Let's rewind 1 year. April 2013. Andrew was like any other college student, quiet, reserved, focused on becoming an electrical technician. Raised on a cattle farm near Rogers, North Dakota, he was a homebody. After losing his brother in a tragic train accident, Andrew clung tightly to family and routine. He wasn't a troublemaker. Except, he started experimenting with weed. Nothing major. A few grams here and there. Occasionally, he'd sell small amounts to friends. But one of those friends wasn't a student. He was an undercover narcotics agent. Andrew was caught. Not arrested. Just flagged. The Southeast Multi-County Agency, or SEMCA, a regional drug task force, had bigger plans for him. Within days, Andrew was brought into a police interrogation room. And what happened next? It's all on tape. You're facing 2 Class A felonies, 40 years in prison, $40,000 in fines. The officer said. It was Andrew's 20th birthday. The officer told him he could avoid prison, avoid the felonies, if he agreed to become a confidential informant, a CI. That meant Andrew would have to wear a wire, make controlled buys, turn on people he may have barely known. He agreed. He signed. Because what 20-year-old wouldn't? Over the next few months, Andrew did what he was told. He made 2 controlled buys. But here's the catch. North Dakota has no laws requiring officers to track or protect their CIs. No requirements for written consent. No accountability. And according to Andrew's family, he was never told how dangerous this gig really was. He was never given a wire. Never given formal training. And worse, he wasn't warned that once he became a CI, backing out could mean jail time. Or something much darker. By the spring of 2014, Andrew had stopped cooperating. He wanted out. Then, on May 1st, he disappeared. And for 2 months, there was silence. On June 27, 2014, a farmer was inspecting his land near the Red River, about 40 miles south of Wahpeton. He noticed something strange near the shore. It was a body, Andrews. He was wearing the same clothes from the surveillance footage. His backpack was still strapped to his shoulders. Inside the bag, rocks. He had been weighted down, shot once in the head. The autopsy could not determine whether it was suicide or homicide. Let that sink in for a moment. Shot in the head with a backpack full of rocks. And they weren't sure if it was murder. Tammy Sadek, Andrew's mother, was devastated and furious. She hadn't even known her son was a confidential informant. No one from Semka had ever contacted her. The task force refused to comment on the details. The gun was never found. There were no suspects, and the investigation quietly faded. Despite national media attention and a heartbroken family demanding answers, the case remains unresolved. Tammy became an activist, pushing for CI reform. She testified in state legislature, exposing how local law enforcement pressured young, nonviolent students into dangerous undercover work without oversight. Because here's the truth, Andrew Sadek didn't need to die. He didn't need to wear a wire. He didn't need to be scared into compliance. And yet he's gone. So what happened to Andrew Sadek? Was he killed by someone he informed on? Did he try to escape the CI world, only to be silenced? Or was it something else? Something more sinister? We may never know. But we do know this. He was young. He was scared. And he was betrayed by the very people sworn to protect him. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as disturbing as we did, consider turning on your notification. We tell stories like this because they matter, because young lives like Andrew's should never be forgotten. Andrew Sadek was not a criminal. He was a quiet kid with a future. A son, a brother, a student who made a mistake and paid for it with his life. He should have been protected, but instead he was used, and in the end discarded. To this day, no one has been held accountable. No justice, no answers, just a grieving family, a cold case file, and a community pretending it never happened. But silence doesn't honor the dead. Telling the truth does. If this story moved you, if you believe young lives like Andrew's deserve better, subscribe. Here, we speak for those who no longer can. And we won't stop until every voice is heard. Until we meet again, be safe.